The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene alongside, and we are live in the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. Thursday morning, it's football day.
It is football day.
The Hall of Fame game is tonight in Canton, Ohio. We got the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're all, yes, you're right, Jeremy. Ever since you said it yesterday, it just keeps ringing in my brain. I'm building this up too much. I'm going to be disappointed when I have to be treated to the Ben DiNucci show tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be great. But you know what it is? It's football. It is living, breathing American football. And for me, that's good enough.
We get a lot of Tony Pollard. We'll get a lot of, hey, Rico Dowdle. He'll be on the field tonight. The A.C. Reynolds High School alum.
I was about to say, I don't know how much of Tony Pollard you're even going to see. That's how aggressively poopy this could be.
It's going to be, it'll be Rico Dowdle season tomorrow when everybody's talking.
Entirely possible.
Everybody, oh, look how good Rico Dowdle is, which he is. I mean, he's a good athlete. I covered his high school career. It was phenomenal. Anyhow, it's going to be good to see him on an NFL field tonight. But Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers, Hall of Fame game is tonight. The preseason is kicking off. And today in the Sportsocracy, be sure to like, share, and follow the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. Hit that subscribe button as well here on YouTube if you have not. Get all of our content as it rolls out. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait. We're rolling.
You're very twitchy.
I'm very twitchy this morning. I don't know why.
You got a fucking squirt bubble. You're like a cat on the furniture.
I think this coffee is starting to come around.
Hey, you're going full Dan Campbell on me. I need you to calm the shit down.
I had a Mountain Dew and this coffee, and I'm just ready to chew some kneecaps.
Well, there's that.
Rolling along with the NFL preseason power rankings today, the top half of the league. Yesterday we had some disagreements in the 17-32 video. And now we are with the top half of the league. So we'll start it off with the number 16 slot in our NFL power rankings. And this is where I got to slot in the Seattle Seahawks. I have seen people talk about the Seattle Seahawks being, possibly a top 10 team, and I can't wrap my head around it. Russ is going to cook, absolutely, but the offensive line still is not great, and their defense it's got a lot of holes, to be nice. Russ is going to have a fantastic season. With DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, we know that much. How much tread is left on the tires of Chris Carson is a big question mark for me, and I don't think I could put them any higher than this.
I mean, 16 might even be a little high to me. We all know I'm not drunk in love with this team. I think it's all. If Russell Wilson wasn't on this team, they're one of the 8 worst teams in the NFL. I don't even think that's debatable.
No, you're right.
Outside of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, tell me what it is that really tickles your pickle. I'll wait, because there's not a lot.
Jamal Adams.
Who's pissed off and wants to be the highest paid safety in the NFL.
And he's going to be.
He will be, and that's fine. I don't besiege a guy for wanting to get paid. My problem is you have 2 interceptions in your life. So, I mean, yeah, he's a good player. He's one of the best pass rushing defensive backs in NFL history.
Yep.
At the end of the day, he's the best pass rusher on the team. That's kind of sad coming from a safety. So I look at Seattle, and, I've gotten a lot of, I'll be back when we're 12-5. Look at your schedule. You will not be back when you're 12-5. You might be 4 or 5 years from now. But you won't be within this calendar year, I can promise you that.
4 of their first 5 games against the Indianapolis Colts, which that becomes a little easier now with Carson Wentz not going to be involved. But Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings, San Francisco 49ers, L.A. Rams. That's their first 5. That's a daunting start to the season.
That's ugly as hell.
But there again, I still believe that those are probably 4 out of those 5 teams they could probably outscore. The problem is if the defense can keep the other offense at bay. And I just don't know that you got the power to do that.
They'll beat the Colts. I would say they lose to the Titans. I think they lose to the Vikings in Minnesota.
Yep.
They will get probably just slaughtered by the 49ers. And I would say they lose to the Rams. Mm-hmm. Might lose to the Steelers the next week, which is in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. It is a very tough schedule. So you get New Orleans, Jacksonville, and a bye. You got Green Bay, Arizona. Buys. Yeah, then you get Green Bay, Arizona, Washington, San Francisco. That's a really rough 4-game stretch.
I mean, it's just an ugly version of it's an ugly schedule for this version of the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
And I understand how good Pete Carroll is, and I understand how good Russell Wilson is. That's why they're in this show, and they weren't yesterday. Mm-hmm. Because I'm telling you, they were damn close for me because I really wanted to have the Chargers ahead of them. And I think if I had it to do again, I probably would have.
I do have the Chargers markedly ahead of them. We'll get to them in just a second. But 16, I think, is fair. It's exactly where I expect them to end up, probably middle of the road, tough schedule. They're going to win some games. Nobody's going to be happy, and we're going to have to go through the Russ drama again next year. Because it's going to be, look, we didn't do enough. Now we've got to, maybe they have a 9-8 record. Is that going to be good enough? Is that going to appease Russell Wilson and the Seattle and the Seattle Seahawks fan base? The answer to both of those questions is no.
The other problem with Seattle, you're the worst team in your division, and I don't think it's all that close.
Right.
I mean, I really don't. Look at how much Arizona has improved that defense. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to lie, I like the offense better. A.J. Green's an improvement over what you were getting from Larry Fitzgerald, if he can stay on the field.
Yeah.
Rondale Moore, I believe, will in time be an improvement over Christian Kirk. I don't see how Seattle does not finish dead last in their own division. Sad thing is, there are 2 other divisions that if they were in those, they'd probably win them.
Right. It very well could be. Patrick Holt says 10-7 is probably their best chance, and they missed the playoffs. Best case scenario, I'd agree. 10-7 is probably the ceiling for the Seattle Seahawks this year.
There's a little sweet spot in the middle of the schedule. There's a lot of Bears, Lions, Jaguars, Texans, Saints. Mm-hmm. That probably gets them in that 8, 9, 10 win tier, but I still don't think they make the playoffs.
Agreed. Number 15 on the power rankings, I went with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got the Miami Dolphins here.
I think I might be too high on Miami.
I don't think you are.
I think I might be too high on Miami.
Obviously, we haven't gotten to Miami on my list yet, so I think you got them a little too low.
Oh, you want to start Pittsburgh or you want to start Miami?
Let's start with Miami since we're on it.
Okay. Here's my problem with Miami. I kill the Cleveland Browns because their quarterback sucks. Mm-hmm. He was better than Tua Tagovailoa. Mm-hmm. And if you're being really honest, the ancillary pieces of the Miami Dolphins, they're not better than Cleveland. They're not. I like Jalen Waddle. I loved him I get it. You still don't have a running back on this team, which means you're going to have to ask Tua to do a lot when it comes to moving this offense. Mm-hmm. I don't buy it. I've heard he looks so much better. Well, he couldn't look a hell of a lot worse. He was so bad in camps that I, honest to God, think that they were ready to jump off a bridge. By the way, I really want to say this into this camera while this is on me.
Okay.
Today's a real good day for Deshaun Watson to become a Philadelphia Eagle. Just throwing that out there.
And if so, we got to do another power rankings video because that's going to change everything.
It's fine.
To me, the Miami Dolphins they're no doubt the second best team in their division. The Buffalo Bills are just head and shoulders above everybody else in the division. I don't expect them to take much of a step back. They were right on the outside of the playoffs last year.
I have a question.
Yep.
Are the Dolphins closer to the Bills or are the Patriots and the Jets closer to the Dolphins?
Patriots and the Jets are closer to the Dolphins.
And I don't think it's close. I don't even think it's close. Mm-hmm. I think that probably the best you will see out of a second team in this division is 9-8.
I will say potentially. Right now, I think that is the truth. Right now, they are closer than Miami is to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Depends on if Tua can make a leap in year 2. I'm not expecting it. I'm just saying if he does, I'm going to think differently about this team. With Will Fuller coming back after 6 games, serving his suspension, and Jalen Waddle stepping into, the stardom role as a rookie in this season. Devontae Parker is a great weapon for him. They have no running game, which is the one thing that's holding them back, in my opinion. The defense, I like the defense. I like a lot of their pieces that they put together. The big question is, what are you going to do with Xavier Howard? Because I will feel markedly different about this defense and the secondary if Xavier Howard has to be shipped out of town and they don't get anything back for him.
Well, I mean, they're going to get.
But what I'm saying is, if they don't get another player,
amount.
but if they don't get another player to slide into the secondary,
if that's what happens, then you got Jason McCourty on the other side.
Yeah,
it's not like they go from Xavier Howard to me.
No.
So I very rarely do I ever feel markedly different about a team based on a corner. Or anything like that. The problem with Miami is that they have a lot of those. Xavier Howard, the issues at running back. I understand why everybody's getting all up in arms about the receiving corps because it's better than it was. It's still top 12 in the NFL? Somewhere. At the end of the day, Tua Tagovailoa, the best he could possibly be. Because here's what people don't seem to be thinking about. The two big additions to the receiving corps were who?
Jalen Waddle.
Deep threat.
Yeah. And Will Fuller.
Deep threat.
Yeah.
What was Tua last year? He was a 64.5% completion captain check down. What's going to happen to that completion percentage when you give him two deep threats and ask him to challenge defenses down the field? It's going to go down. There's no doubt. His yards at he had one of the lowest yards at the completion of any quarterback in the NFL last year.
Yep.
He was captain check down. To me, that tells me that the interceptions are going to go up.
But a lot of
the completion percentage is going to go down. And I don't like the way that fits with this team. The more I think about it, I don't have an issue with the team.
Right.
I've said routinely, if they traded for Deshaun Watson, they're in the top 8 in the NFL to me.
The narrative that we had all through last season was, though, they weren't asking Tua to do it. It wasn't. I don't know that it was that he can't do it, or that they didn't think he could do it. They were playing it safe. They had that sort of check down mentality of let's teach him how to get the ball out in rhythm, that kind of thing, because we're not going to win anything. We're not going to win a division this year.
No, but they missed the playoffs by a game. I think that's an asinine take. If you thought he could do it, he would have done it. They missed the playoffs because he was captain check down and they lost 2 games that they shouldn't have. If they thought he could do it, he would have done it. You don't just miss the playoffs because, we'll make it next year. It's fine. Let's let somebody else hit. That's not how that works. This is a team that hadn't been in the playoffs in a long time. I just think I think there are some deficiencies with Tua that I saw last year, and I don't know how you're going to come back from that. And I feel like you gave him weapons that, yes, he's comfortable with Waddle. I understand that. Yes, Will Fuller can be a deep threat. He also lives hurt. So if you tell me through 6 weeks of the season, I have Jalen Waddle and Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki, I mean, that's not really tickling my pickle a whole lot. I'm not looking at that going, damn, that's a dynamic offense, especially when you've got Myles Gaskin and Jared Dokes and Malcolm Brown and Salvin Ahmed behind them.
Yeah.
You don't have to stack the box on this team at all. You can literally sit back in zone and just dare Tua to throw into it. And I think that's going to be a problem. I think that will, and again, I'm not trying to say this is a bad team. I think the ceiling on them is markedly lower than a lot of people, a lot of other people seem to.
I think this could be a playoff team this year, but it's going to all rely on the quarterback.
Well, I mean, be really honest with yourself. Look, they start the season at the Patriots. That could be a loss.
Could be.
Bills in Miami.
Loss.
A loss.
Yeah.
At the Raiders.
Win.
That could be a loss. They should have lost to them last year, and the Raiders are better than they were last year. I guess what I'm saying is just there's a lot of, the Dolphins are a playoff team, no doubt. And, okay? They are what they are.
Yeah.
I think they're the 8th, 9th best team in the AFC. If they had a better quarterback, they'd probably be 3rd, 4th best team in the AFC. They don't. They're not.
They don't yet.
They're not.
There's always room for growth. There's always room for growth.
And you know why they're not trading for Deshaun Watson? Because today is a great day for Deshaun Watson to become a Philadelphia Eagle.
So Kevin Vick saw the story about the Carolina Panthers quietly considering. Oh my gosh! He said I roll my eyes harder than the Undertaker.
You do know why I keep saying this Deshaun Watson thing, right?
What, Deshaun Watson to the Eagles?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Pro Football. Let me.
Because Mike Florio reported.
It wasn't Mike Florio. No. This came out last night on Twitter.
Okay.
I can't remember. I'm looking at Twitter now because I retweeted it with a lot of, you're going to hate this. There it is. It was Pro Football Focus. Talks are heating up between the Eagles and Texans on the Deshaun Watson trade. That's per Chris Trempasso. That came out at like 11 o'clock last night. I've been hearing that for weeks. And I've kept saying it like, eventually I'm going to be right. It's one of the fun things about sources. When you hear it for like the 11th time, if you're still sticking to that, that means you're hearing it from somebody.
Right.
Because you've told it to me, and I've said it, and you made me look like a dumb shit. So if I'm going to keep listening to you, you better damn well be right. And I believe they are.
All right. My 15 in the power rankings for 2021 preseason style is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And you're wrong.
I cannot get down with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't have high hopes for that offensive line. I don't have high hope. I mean, the defense is good. They've got a lot of great players on that defense. But I mean,
so what's your problem with the defense?
Perfect.
So what's your issue with the defense? Which, by the way, was pretty damn good.
Yeah,
pretty damn good last year.
I mean, there are places that they could upgrade. To me, I mean, like
such as
Cameron Sutton.
They had the third best defense in the NFL last year. They just
I understand
for posterity's sake.
I understand that. I think you're gonna miss Bud Dupree.
I don't.
I do.
I've long said Bud Dupree's the most overrated pass rusher in the NFL.
Right.
Continue.
Cameron Sutton playing on the outside for the first time in his career. You don't think he will struggle with that? I mean, they obviously have good players on half of the defense. And then the other is just dudes. They will have holes on defense. I'm not saying that they're going to get killed. All I'm saying is I don't think that they are a championship team. And then you've got, of course, Ben Roethlisberger, who we saw at the end of the year, did not play up to it. He's said that he was tired down the stretch of the season. Do you believe that the diet has changed all of that? I don't know that I'd expect him to reclaim anything.
No, what I think is that the offense has changed that. I think now you have the ability to run a greasy peg up a cat's ass, which you didn't last year. Last year you had a running game that was grab ball, close eyes, pray to Jesus you don't die, with James Conner and Jalen Samuel, Benny Snell. And if you remember, Benny Snell actually had one decent game. I don't think this line is that markedly worse than it was. I firmly believe in Kendrick Greene. He's going to start at center tonight, just so you know, which I said that on draft night. I love being right. God, fuck, I love being right. It's just, I mean, that shit will make the fucking sunrise. When you say something and 3 months later it comes out and you're like, that shit just, that puts some lead in your pencil, and if it doesn't, you're a damn liar.
Yep.
I'm not as worried about the line. I look at Kendrick Greene. I look at the addition of Trey Turner. I'm fine. Okay. I'm fine with it. I believe in Zach Banner on the right side. For me, it's Okorafor on the left side. That's the only real fear that I have, and I think it's overblown.
Well, I mean, you are trusting a guy to, come in and take a lot of snaps in a position that he's not used to.
And that's fine, but you got to look at the way this team is built. You cannot send the hellhounds at Ben Roethlisberger. If you do, you're going to get torched because they have 3 dudes that can beat you deep.
Yeah. And
now they have 2 intermediate tight ends that can serve as dump-offs, and Najee's a good receiving back. I'm just looking at this team like this team was 11-0 before Ben's arm fell off his body last year. And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to believe that they're the 9th best team in the AFC? Bullshit. It's revisionist history, and it's being just absolutely beholden to the most recent thing you saw. You saw them be bad in the playoffs against the Browns when they got their just teeth kicked in.
Yep. And
I think it's an aberration. I do. I think it's an aberration. Mike Tomlin has had, what is it stat on him? He's never had a losing season as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And now I'm supposed to believe that that's just going to begin because, Bud Dupree left. I could give a damn less about Bud Dupree. Tennessee, enjoy that overpaid contract. I tried to tell you. That's all I'm going to say. I tried my damnedest to tell you.
But you should be concerned about the quarterback position and the depth behind him, because if something happens to Ben, then they got to go to Mason Rudolph.
Name 3 better backup quarterbacks in the NFL than Mason Rudolph. I've heard you say this so many
times. Off the top of my head.
Hell, I'll give them to you.
Give them to me.
I'll go ahead and tell you, you're not going to find many.
Okay.
Let's see. Would you like to hear who some of them? The Jets' backup quarterback is James Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Huntley is the backup for the Baltimore Ravens. Brandon Allen of the Cincinnati Bengals. Is this really doing anything for you? Are you really getting just warm and fuzzy? And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure Mason Rudolph would be the guy that came in anyway.
You think it'll be Dwayne Haskins?
I'm not sure that it wouldn't. I've heard some weird things out of Pittsburgh about Dwayne Haskins.
I've only heard glowing reports out of Pittsburgh of people going, Dwayne Haskins is way better than we expected him to be in camp. Do I put a whole lot of stock into that? No, not really, but it does make that backup quarterback
I've heard
role a
some
question.
things that the talent on Haskins was he just needed to be put into a system where he had structure.
He just needed to get
the Pittsburgh Steelers have more structure than damn near any team in the NFL, and Washington football team fans. I don't feel like I'm speaking out of turn here to go. It's been kind of the Wild Wild West there for a while.
Yeah.
I get that it's getting better with Ron Rivera. Dwayne Haskins was already a broke toy by then. Mm-hmm. He had already gone through the Jay Gruden partying with co-eds and just crushing Natty Lights era.
Right.
Jay Gruden, by the way. That table we talked about on ESPN Radio yesterday of dudes that would just be fun to party with in the industry of sports. Jay Gruden should be honorable mention of that.
He's got a lot of confidence with the ladies.
And Rob Johnson said something in the comments that I hadn't even addressed yet. Mm-hmm. They replaced Bud Dupree with Melvin Ingram. Mm-hmm. Who, by the way, is better than Bud Dupree. When healthy, Melvin Ingram is better than Bud Dupree, and to me, it's not even really all that debatable. Problem is, he hadn't been healthy all that much. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. You know what the fountain of youth is? Get away from the Chargers. Because those dudes must go hard in the paint at night time because they get hurt a lot.
Right. I don't know. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that is going to have everything go right for them.
The schedule's gross. That's the one thing that will preclude me from being right. However, be really honest with yourself.
Yep.
Start the season at Buffalo. That's a loss. Mm-hmm. Then you go Vegas, Cincinnati, at Green Bay, Denver, Seattle. Tell me they couldn't be 4-2.
It could be.
100% they could be. I think at worst they're 3-3 because you're going to beat the Raiders, you're going to beat the Bengals, and you're going to beat Seattle at home because they're home for all three of those guys. So you go into a bye week, and now granted, there's a little Cleveland, Baltimore after the bye, and Kansas City after on the back side of the schedule. Mm-hmm. I get that.
And the Chargers and the Titans.
But what I'm saying is that you've got them in a place at 15 that they should be 8-9, 9-8.
I think it's about where they.
I think 10's their floor.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think 10's their floor. This is a vet team, and there are a lot of games where I look at it and go, talent for talent is pretty close. Mm-hmm. You get Mike Vrabel, and I get Mike Tomlin. Advantage me, and I can do that with a few others. So I think you're too low on Pittsburgh. I've said that for an extended period of time, and nothing changes that for me.
Yep, it's just not sexy enough for me to have it any higher than 15 on my power rankings. Number 14. Who's your 14?
The same as yours.
Oh, it's the same, the Washington football team. Mm-hmm. They're a bottom playoff team in the NFC still.
This is another team that I think we've gotten kooky Madookie on.
Us or as a whole?
The world.
Okay.
The world on the whole.
Yeah.
We saw we saw one good game in the playoffs. They made the playoffs as a 7-9 team, and they threatened Tom Terrific. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, all of the deficiencies of this team just went away. No, they still have. There's still some. I think the offensive line's markedly worse.
Markedly worse.
Mm-hmm. You lose Morgan Moses, who was one of the most stable pieces of that offensive line.
Yeah.
Guess where he went? He plays for us now.
Right.
And I just think that's going to be a problem. Ryan Fitzpatrick is notorious. There's good Ryan, and there's Ryan. And I'm afraid that you're going to see 5 to 6 games this year of that. Mm-hmm. And I think the ceiling on and look, I'm not saying Washington's not good. I have them 2 spots behind the team that I think actually wins this division. So it's not like there's a huge discrepancy here. And the Eagles, if there's no Watson, and the Giants just being themselves, you're light years ahead of them. Mm-hmm. I think the Cowboys are better than they are.
I do too.
I think the Cowboys are better than they are.
I do too. And I think the ceiling is higher for the Dallas Cowboys than it is for the Washington football team, based on their offense. Mm-hmm. The offense for Washington is going to be fun. You got a lot of weapons there with Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, and Antonio Gibson, and they're going to be using J.D. McKissick and those ancillary receivers. They're going to be trying to throw a lot of different looks at teams, but it is going to come down to your quarterback play. You got a very up and down quarterback. The defense is absolutely loaded. Mm-hmm. The defense that's what's going to carry them once again, like it did last year at the back stretch of the season.
The defense is great. Mm-hmm. The problem that I have is that you're expecting that 68.5% Ryan Fitzpatrick to show up. And as a starter, it really never has. He had a few good games last year with Miami, and all of a sudden people think that all of the ills have been unwound. Mm-hmm. Well, they're not. I mean, historically, he's not a pick for a touch. He's not a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception guy, but he's like 1 1/3 to 1, which is fucking awful. I'm not saying his good's not good, because it is. Mm-hmm. But you're expecting him at 39 years old to become something he's never been before? I struggle to buy that.
I think their defense alone is going to be able to make 10-7 their floor.
And
just looking at their schedule, I mean, they've got Kansas City, they've got Green Bay, they've got Tampa Bay. Those are games that we definitely expect them to lose. Mm-hmm. If they get swept out by Dallas, that adds 2 more to the list. And you got Buffalo in week 3. That's another one you're going to lose. And then you got week 1 against the Chargers. Those are the only games that I look at on their schedule and go, I think those are losses.
You could lose at Carolina. You could lose at Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Bad Ryan Fitzpatrick shows up, you could lose at Denver.
Yeah.
That's the thing that nobody seems to see. It's what you just said is what I'm trying to rein it back in with these Washington football fan teams. Washington football team fans.
Yes.
Fuck, that's hard to say. I'm not trying to say that your team's bad. You have great talent. Your defense is young and terrifying. Mm-hmm. Here's what you have to understand, and this is coming from a guy that I spent 2 years watching Ryan Fitzpatrick break my heart on the regular. When bad Ryan shows up, you can lose to anybody. Mm-hmm. Because he's 3 interception, no touchdown, 12 for 25, 147 yards, and looks like he doesn't belong in the league. That's a Ryan Fitzpatrick. I literally stole that off a game log. That's who he can be. Mm-hmm. And people just seem to be acting like that's not a thing. Oh, he's going to be a game manager for us. Really? Never has been before. Really struggle to figure out why you think he's going to be now. Especially with toys. Now he's got toys with Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin. I get it. There's things to like. Just calm down on this we're going to be the 3rd best team in the NFC shit. That's not going to happen.
Again, it's recency bias for a lot of folks looking at how last year went down in Miami. When things started to go off the rails with Tua Tagovailoa, what did they do? They turned to Ryan Fitzpatrick to come in and just calm everybody down and to be the late manager in the game, to be able to keep them in it and to get them as many wins as possible. And they think if he was able to do that and, spot starts is not the right word or not the right phrase for me to use here, but you get what I'm saying. When he comes into the game here and there just to manage it, they think he can do that full term.
He was a glorified closer at times last year.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Doesn't know who he is. And now he's the guy. He's the unquestioned number one in Washington. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's anything that's going to change that. I don't think there could be a bad week for Taylor Heineke or a bad week for Ryan Fitzpatrick and you turn to Taylor Heineke. I don't think that's a thing. I think you're committed to Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I'm just trying to tell you as somebody that watched it, and this was 4 years ago, when he was much closer to his prime than he is now. Mm-hmm. Bad Ryan is a thing. I love him. There's no NFL player that looks more like I do. But just know, temper the expectations.
Right.
This is a team that Washington, to me, has one of the most volatile ceiling floors of any team in the NFL. Because if the bad Ryan shows up against the Eagles and the Giants, I still think you beat those teams.
Yeah.
As bad as he could be, I still think you beat those teams. Mm-hmm. What would concern me is if those bad Ryan games come against good defenses like, I don't know, Denver. That's a game that you just wipe off and go, they could never lose that. I don't agree with you. I don't. I could easily see a path they go to Mile High and lose. I easily see a path that they start this season. They could be going into the bye week with 3 straight losses. Kansas City, at Green Bay, at Denver. Mm-hmm. And if they lose to Buffalo like I think they will, if you lose to the Chargers too, you're 3-5 going into the bye week.
Right.
And I got news for you. With the amount of hoopla and pub that is happening in Washington right now, holy shit. Ron Rivera will be so tired of the media by the time that bye week's over that he might just start ignoring them. He might just start going, I'll pay the fucking fine. I don't care. I'm tired of talking to you people.
Mm-hmm. I think they probably will not be 3-5 going into the bye week. I can't do it.
4-4 at best. They're 4-4 at best going into the bye week, and then you have to hope they crush the back end of the schedule. And the back end of the schedule is the weakest part of it. So, there's problem is you got 2 matchups with Dallas.
You don't give them any hope against the Chargers in that first game.
Not saying I don't give them any hope. I just could easily see.
You could easily see them listen. I can agree with that.
I've watched this before. I've read this book. I've read this exact same book. We had Ryan Fitzpatrick with a great defense. Shouldn't say great defense. Really good defense. Mm-hmm. And weapons and all this shit with Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall and he doo-dooed in his pants and we went 9-7, missed the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And in the game we needed him the most, he played one of the worst games of his entire career.
How did you start that season? Do you remember? Because what I remember from Ryan Fitzpatrick in the Tampa Bay days was the start of the season was fantastic. Nobody's going to be more prepared than Ryan Fitzpatrick with his ability to study and analyze things. He's going to be ready to go for that first game, especially. First few weeks, I would expect him to be really, really good. And then that's when the things start coming off the rails.
By the way, we went 10-6 that year, not 9-7.
Okay.
How did he start the year? Fine. Average.
Right.
His real home run swing was down the stretch until the game that we had to win.
Yeah.
And then the game that we had to have, he shit in his pants aggressively for 60 minutes.
Right.
So I'm not trying to say the team's bad. I feel like I've gone on a 5-minute diatribe here about how the team's bad.
Right.
That's not the case.
No, you're just presenting the other side to try to get people to think maybe we're too high on the Washington football team.
This is the time of year where the offseason and all of the things, it's like a build-up. And I feel like Washington is the team that we're doing that the most with right now.
Okay. Number 13, we vary here. One we talked about yesterday in my power rankings, the Minnesota Vikings, and I've got the Miami Dolphins here at 13. I think there will be a step forward for Tua Tagovailoa this year. I think having Jalen Waddle is going to matter. I like the way the defense is put together with just kind of that New England style of you got a couple of stars and then you got dudes that are going to get the job done. Now with the Minnesota Vikings, you see great things for the Vikings this year, and I'm not saying I see bad things for the Vikings this year. I just don't know that I expect it. This is kind of where you have them is my absolute best case scenario. I don't think there's any higher that you could possibly put them.
Why?
I just think they're limited.
Limited how?
Kirk Cousins he's not the
Better than
greatest quarterback
better
in the
than
world.
you think he is.
No, he's not. I mean, I'm a Kirk Cousins guy. I like Kirk Cousins. I think he serves the purpose they need. He gets the ball to his receivers, Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Dalvin Cook's going to run the ball like crazy. Their offensive line is pretty good, but, young in spots. And then you look at the defensive side, and those pieces have changed. I'm just not sold that they can still be
healthy
world beaters.
Danielle Hunter is still one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. He's top 10 to 12 pass rusher in the NFL.
Okay.
You didn't have him last year. Well, you have him now. And that's going to change a lot. I like this defense enough. I like Kirk Cousins enough. I love Dalvin Cook. I love Adam Thielen. I love Irv Smith. And I have to admit I was wrong on Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
The offense can be really, really good. And let's be 100% honest, shall we?
Okay.
They play some suspect fucking defenses. Cincinnati, bad. Arizona, don't know. They added pieces, wasn't good last year. I think it's going to be better. But if you told me Minnesota went into Arizona and beat them, am I going to be stunned? Is that stop the presses? Holy shit, what the fuck just happened? No. Seattle, I'll take Minnesota all day. Won't even think about it. Shootout, I get Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook. You get Chris Carson. Russell Wilson, I get all that. My defense is better than yours. It's not even debatable. Cleveland, if you told me they beat Cleveland in the Dome, shocked? Not even kinda. If you told me Denzel Ward got his lunchbox eaten by Justin Jefferson, he had 175 yards, 2 touchdowns,
right,
and Dalvin Cook ran all over them, would you be shocked? Shocked, holy shit, what the fuck just happened?
A little.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because those two teams are pretty damn close. Detroit, Carolina with that young defense, Dallas, the Chargers, who seem to live hurt, Green Bay, who's had an overrated defense forever, Detroit, Pittsburgh, now you're into that. If you're right and Pittsburgh ages poorly at the end of the year, and it's in Minnesota, Chicago, who always seems to fall apart at the end of years, I'm just telling you, there's a lot of winnable games on the schedule. That's what I've looked at with Minnesota is you're going to be in some shootouts and you actually have a pass rusher. Yeah. And I think the defense is going to be markedly improved.
Okay. I think you're a little high on them, but I still think it's a decent football team.
They're one that's grown on me. I was not as high on Minnesota until we started doing fantasy football things. Fantasy football made me go, hey, dumbass, you're either wrong about this or you're wrong about them, one or the other.
Right.
And I don't think I'm wrong about Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and Irv Smith and Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook. So the offense is going to put up points. It's a question of can the defense be better. I think with Mike Zimmer it can, and setting the tone with Jeff Gladney. I think there is something to be said for that. If you look at the team and go, you know what, we're just not going to put up with this bullshit anymore because this was a really undisciplined team last year. And I understand it's a different kind of discipline. I get that. But the fact that the minute he gets indicted, they go, nope, bye. That kind of sets a tone to me.
Yeah.
And that's part of what they needed, in my opinion. I am very bullish on the Minnesota Vikings this year.
At number 12, we'll get into the Dirty Dozen. I've got the Dallas Cowboys as my 12. You've got the Cleveland Browns here, and you're not going to see them on my list for a while. You continually bash Baker Mayfield, and granted, the criticism is warranted. However, the rest of that team is better than every other team that you've got on that list, except for the Tennessee Titans.
Disagree with you. They're not more talented than the Dallas Cowboys. Weapons, who would you rather have, Dallas or Cleveland? It's not even fucking close. Defensive pieces. Dallas pretty damn close. Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons. There's a lot of players there. Cleveland is, I'll be honest with you, if there's one team I feel like I'm spot on about, it's Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. Because I looked at my power rankings, and there is a line of demarcation with the Browns. The Browns are a stupidly talented team outside of quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to notice about the 11 teams ahead of them? They're all better at quarterback, and it's not even debatable. Mm-hmm. The closest you come to Baker Mayfield ahead of them is Ryan Tannehill. Or maybe injury-depleted 39-year-old Ben Roethlisberger. Mm-hmm. Got news for you. If you told me I could have one or the other, it's Ben, and I don't even think about it. I don't even fucking think about it. Baker has regressed at the one thing he does really well every year he's been in the league, and that's under pressure, outside the pocket. He's regressed in it every year. And you can't – I understand how good the team is around him. You're undervaluing how bad of a quarterback he is. And I shouldn't even say bad. He's just the definition of average. Mm-hmm. I look at Minnesota and Cleveland very similarly. I like your weapons. I like what you can do. Your quarterback's not winning you shit.
How much differently would you feel about the Cleveland Browns if they had Kirk Cousins instead of Baker Mayfield?
I'd like them better. I would like them better. I can't tell you how. They'd probably be 9.
Yeah.
They'd jump from 12 to 9. That's Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, anybody in that. Because I feel like Baker Mayfield is a full step behind every guy I just said. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're just going to have a limitation in that. And I got news for you. A lot of Browns fans have been like, we got better at this. How are we going to be worse this year than we were last year? 3 words. 4 words. Look at the schedule. Your schedule is brutal. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a murderer's row. And I don't think you're going to, and I don't like your chances of that.
I mean, they start out the year with Kansas City. Loss. Okay. Then you get Houston, Chicago.
Hold on. No. Houston, I'll give you. Chicago in Cleveland.
Win. Easy.
I don't agree with you.
My offense can run circles around yours.
And I still have elite pass rusher, elite defense against Baker Mayfield. Oh, let's play a game. Okay. You keep running through the schedule, and then and I'm going to ask you a question.
At Minnesota, I don't think that's a real challenge. Going to Minnesota.
You're fucking wrong. That's one of the loudest buildings in the league. And you're telling me Baker Mayfield is going to go in there and just blow their doors off?
You go at the LA Chargers. You got the Arizona Cardinals. And you get Denver, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, New England, Detroit. I mean, there are a lot of winnable games in there. I expect them to beat Pittsburgh both times they play them.
You shouldn't. They got beat 38-7 last year. The first time they played. Mm-hmm. When Ben was healthy, they got beat 38-7. Just remember that. This team's not that markedly different. They're not. You name me one time, look at the Seattle Seahawks for what I'm getting ready to say.
Okay.
I know what you're getting ready to say about John Johnson. Mm-hmm. Oh, the defense is so much better. Who's better, Jamal Adams or John Johnson?
Jamal Adams.
Not even close. It's light years. How much that improves Seattle's defense? You know why? Because he's a fucking safety. There's a reason that you don't pay them $15 million a year. Because he's a safety. There's only so much he can do.
You don't think John Johnson's better in coverage than Jamal Adams is?
No. I think teams have thrown away from Jamal Adams his entire career.
Okay.
Because you don't have to. He's been on 2 bad defenses. Right. And here's the thing. Teams kind of shied away from him in L.A. as well. Mm-hmm. And Troy Hill, Jesus, God, if I hear one more thing about Troy Hill, do you think he became Deion Sanders overnight? There's a reason that the Rams didn't pay him. There's a reason for that. He's fine. He's a solid number 2 corner in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But if that's what you're clinging your hopes on, I got news for you. Not going to pay off quite the way you think it will. I mean, that Cleveland defense was mediocre at best last year, and I don't think it's all that much better. Mm-hmm. Us don't. Good offenses beat the piss out of them. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Vegas, and that Vegas didn't score a ton of points, but they dealt with them quite nicely. Mm-hmm. I got news for you. They weren't markedly better than the Jets. When they played in New York last year, the Jets beat the hell out of them. Trust me, I sat there and watched it going, I don't know how to feel right now. Because we're beating the Browns, which makes me laugh a lot.
Right.
But I really want that blonde-haired quarterback from Clemson. No, fuck it. Fuck
Was
Cleveland.
that the first win?
No, the Rams were the first
The
one.
Rams were the first win. Yeah.
We'd already basically peed our pants on Trevor Lawrence anyway, so I was like, screw it, beat him.
I don't know. I look at the defense and I don't see very many holes, and I see a lot of depth as well. And so to me,
The depth,
I think
the depth is
better.
fine. I don't have a qualm with that. What I don't understand is why this is the one team that you just do not seem to give a damn that their quarterback is bad. You just don't seem to care.
He's bad.
He is bad. He's been bad for 3 years in this league.
You just said he's the definition of average 4 minutes ago.
And average in terms of being a top 10. I mean, you realize we're to the top 10 in the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you're talking Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Baker Mayfield. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. And that's the reason they're sitting at 12 for me. And I can't for the fucking life of me figure out how you put them any higher. Because you kill teams with bad quarterbacks routinely. Mm-hmm. Don't give a damn about what's put around it. And yet for Cleveland, you just put your fingers in your ears and say, no, I don't care.
That's not true.
It's 100% true. You just said about Minnesota not 5 fucking minutes ago. Not 5 minutes ago, you just said the reason that this is their ceiling is because the things around him are fine, but it's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is better than Baker Mayfield, and it's not even remotely debatable to me. Mm-hmm. And yet that matters with Minnesota, and it does. Who's in, by the way, a much easier division. And yet it doesn't matter with Cleveland. I can't for the life of me wrap my head around that.
It does matter with Cleveland. That's why if they had a better quarterback, I'd probably have them in my top 4. But I don't have them in my top 4. They're not too far off the top 4. But I think the defense is markedly better for Cleveland than it is for Minnesota. I think that's going to lead them to the promised land.
I don't. I think they have a better pass rusher, and I think they're a little deeper. Mm-hmm. I also think the schedule for Minnesota is markedly easier. Here's the thing. Look at the games Cleveland won last year. You know what they all have in common?
What's that?
-2. They all had god-awful defenses. Cincinnati, Washington football team. There's one of the good ones. It was 3 weeks into the season. Because trust me, they were much better at the end of the year than they were at the beginning. Dallas Cowboys, god-awful. Indianapolis Colts. That was a pretty decent defense. Pretty good to decent at that time. It got a little better as time went on, and they figured out, hey, Phillip Rivers really shouldn't throw. That team had just lost to the Jaguars. Just remember that. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati, Houston Texans, Philadelphia Eagles, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers with nobody playing. You beat up on shitty teams. Oh, look at Nick Chubb. He averages 10 yards a carry in the fourth quarter, which is literally actually a stat, which is mind-boggling. You beat up on shit teams. Well, you don't get to do that this year. This year, you do not get to do that again because you don't have Jacksonville and Philadelphia and the Houston Texans. Oh, actually, you do have the Houston Texans. But now you get Kansas City and Arizona and the Chargers, Minnesota, New England, Baltimore twice, Pittsburgh twice, Green Bay, and the Vegas Raiders. I could legitimately see you losing every game I just said. Because every team I just said has a better quarterback than you, except the New England Patriots. And they have a better coach than you do. Better system, better scheme. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see the comments on this from Cleveland Browns fans.
No.
You're just a hater.
Yep.
You're so stupid. Okay.
Yep.
Just remember, I tried to tell you this last year. We're going to the Super Bowl. No, the fuck you're not. And no.
They're not going to the Super Bowl this year either.
No.
I just do think they are much better than the 12th best team in the NFL.
All right, be honest. Be really honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. Name me the team in front of them that you know definitively they're better than. Bet your house kind of shit.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
You're fucking wrong. God, put it on the board right now. I'll do it right now. I get Pittsburgh, you get Cleveland. I'm fine with it. Mm-hmm. My team was 11-0 before our quarterback's arm fell off. I get Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, and now I've got a running game? Okay, then. I don't think you understand what bet your house means. Dallas Cowboys. You should have lost to them last year. So.
Did you hear me say them? I did not say them.
No, but you were wanting to. You were waiting to say it.
No, I mean the teams that, at least on this screen, there's probably some others on the next screen.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when we get there, you tell me which one it is.
Okay, we'll do. Number 11 on the power rankings.
We glossed over the Dallas Cowboys.
We glossed over the Dallas Cowboys. We shouldn't do that. My number 12 is the Dallas Cowboys. I think those offensive weapons are unbelievable. I am expecting a full bounce back for Dak Prescott. I know he's dealing with shoulder things right now. He's unsure of what's. I think they're just playing it safe. You got to play it absolutely safe with the guy that you just spent a whole shitload of money to lead this franchise into the future. Dak Prescott's fine. They say Ezekiel Elliott is in the best shape of his life. The ongoing injuries to the defense and to the offensive line, I do take into some account. The defense was bad last year. I think it's going to be markedly better this year, but it's going to be young. It's going to be young and inexperienced in spots, and I think this is the perfect place to have them. They disappoint us every year. And part of me wants to have them in the top 10, but I just can't. I can't make myself get there.
I get it. Mm-hmm. I mean, frankly, I didn't get there either. I had them at 11.
Right.
Because I don't know what the defense is going to be. Mm-hmm. Offensively, this is one of the 4 best teams in the NFL. The offense is going to be able to put up points so long as Dak Prescott's healthy.
Yep.
They're in a bad division. You get 4 guaranteed wins with the Eagles and the Giants so long as there's no Deshaun Watson in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, frankly, the defense doesn't have to be world beater to be better than it was last year. It has to not be god-awful. And I believe I think last year was a blip for Mike McCarthy. I think he trusted Mike Nolan when he shouldn't have. The defense was atrocious. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be better. I don't think it's going to be great. I think you'll be able to get out the quarterback with DeMarcus Lawrence. I think you have one of the best linebacker cores in the NFL, which tells me that teams are probably not going to be able to run on you. Mm-hmm. Scary part is that I don't love your secondary, so teams might be able to throw on you. So they might end up in a lot of shootouts. I just don't think it's going to be as bad as it was last year.
I think going back to the 3-4 scheme is going to help.
Absolutely.
So, and the secondary is one thing that does have me asking questions about the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't know if you have too much youth and too many unknowns on that defensive secondary to be as good as you want it to be. Mm-hmm. So I think 12 is a respectable place to put them. I do have them ahead of every other team in this division. I think they should be the favorites to win this division.
As do I.
I'm starting to agree with, we might be a little crazy on the Washington football team, but it's not by much. I think it's close. It's very, very close.
I mean, when I see people putting Washington in the top 10, that's insane.
Yes.
To me.
I would agree with that. At number 11, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't understand why you don't think the Chargers are this good, but they are.
What changed? What changed?
I get the best defensive weapon on my team back this year.
Who's been hurt forever.
Okay.
I love Derwin James. Mm-hmm. I do. What did I just say about John Johnson and Jamal Adams? Mm-hmm. He's still a safety. At the end of the day, he's still a safety. I don't dislike the defense. I don't hate the defense. I don't anything like that. I think this team is very average. I think people are, and I never thought I'd say this, I feel like people are overreacting to how good Justin Herbert is. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying he's not good, because he certainly is. Threw 4,300 yards last year in 15 games. Mm-hmm. I just think I don't know how much better he can be, and they were 6-9. Well, were they 6-9 with him? Yeah, he was 6-9 as a starter last year.
Yeah.
I don't know that he can be much better than that. Better than what he was last year. I think that's who he is, because he had a tremendous rookie year. And so, what is it that you think? He's going to take some step forward and throw for 5,500 yards this year? He had 31 damn touchdowns last year. Problem is that the rest of the team let him down. I still don't think they're a good running team. Mm-hmm. I like Eckler, but he's a jack of all trades receiving back. Mm-hmm. He's not a great between the tackles runner. I don't buy Mike Williams, and I never have, because he lives hurt. And again, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying you're telling me that a team is going to go from 6-10 to 12-5 solely because their coach changed. I didn't like Anthony Lynn either. I've maintained he's one of the worst in-game management coaches in the history of the league. Mm-hmm. But good hell, you're asking a lot out of a first-year head coach.
I think you might be underselling how good this offense can be. I mean, granted, Mike Williams is a question mark. His health, I get it. Keenan Allen, he can live hurt as well. The problem is you've got both of those guys. You got Justin Herbert, and you've got an offensive line that is going to take care of him. I don't see a way that this offensive line doesn't have the advantage in damn near every game they go into. With Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
Right. Matt Filer. They have built an all-star offensive line. Mm-hmm. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you get Derwin James back. Hopefully he is healthy. Hopefully he stays healthy. Chris Harris is there to help shut things down. I just like all the pieces. Would I have liked it if Melvin Ingram came back? Absolutely. I would like it even better.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. In terms of total offense last year, where were the LA Chargers? Yards per game, where were they last year?
I don't know, 13?
10.
Okay.
Where were they in total defense?
Oh, I don't know.
Take a guess.
19.
Talking about how bad the defense is. Or how bad the defense was.
19.
They were 10.
Okay.
They were 10 in shootouts. It's not like the defense, that's a fucking myth that this defense was not good. Mm-hmm. I think Derwin James helps, but I mean, at the end of the day, where do you think they're going to end up? How much? And that's my problem, is how much better do you think this team's actually going to be? Not much changed. The team's still pretty damn similar. I understand that the line's better, but I'd still Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson and Larry Roundtree running behind it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, not saying they're bad. I think they're going to take a tremendous leap. I think going from 6-10, thinking a team's going to go from 6-10 to being the third or fourth best team in the AFC is a fool's errand to me. Mm-hmm. That is a massive jump. And you're asking a lot out of a guy that was a coordinator for a year or 2 years. I can't remember, it was 1 or 2 years.
I think.
And you're asking for a lot.
They're my 6. They're my 6 in the AFC. They're just on the outside of the top tier in the AFC to me.
And looking at mine, they're like my 7 or 8. So it's not like we have that. It's not like it's that market of a difference. I just think you're asking for a lot.
I am. I have a lot of high hopes for this team. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the baby blues, for the powder blues.
I like this team. I just think we've done the same thing with Washington and the Chargers, is that we've gone absolutely kooky madookie because these teams were not overly good last year. Statistically, the Chargers were not bad.
Right.
They were bad in late game situations. I just don't know how much better you're going to be. I don't know how much better Justin Herbert can actually be. If he's even fractionally better in a 17-game schedule, he's going to throw for 5,000 yards.
Right. I will ask this: Are they 7 possessions better than they were last year? Because they lost 7 one-possession games last year, and I'm gonna keep going back to that. I know that they.
And I got news for you: that's not all on Anthony Lynn.
No,
it's not.
No,
everybody seems to think that he went out the door and all of a sudden every bit of that fixes itself. No, it doesn't. Because you know why you keep losing games like that? Because you can't run. Because you got a running back that's about that tall. That, yeah, he's a great receiver and he's electric with the ball in his hand. I get that. You couldn't grind games out. Chargers fans will. I'm telling you, they'll tell you I'm accurate on this. You couldn't salt games away. I watched it multiple times. You get a lead, you need to just salt the last 4 minutes away, and you can't do it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not so sure they can do it now.
We shall see.
And they play a shitload of good defenses.
Yeah.
New England, Baltimore, Cleveland, we just talked about. Kansas City, who's going to be improved. Dallas will be improved. the Washington football team, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Denver. I mean, my God, that's a lot of damn good defenses. So I'm not saying you're going 6-10 again, and that's how I feel like this is going to be taken, and that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying I think you're closer to like a 10-7 team that makes the playoffs on the backside, and a year from now, this becomes a destination because there's a lot of people going, you know, we had qualms about Justin Herbert coming out, and he was light years ahead of what we thought he was. And it was every draft analyst I knew had reservations about Herbert, not about the talent, about the up here. And now with a little expectation and a lot's being heaped on him, I think that's a lot to ask.
At number 10, the Arizona Cardinals are mine. Jeremy's best team in the NFC. I think they're a very good team. I do think they're a very good team.
They're not the best team in the NFC, but they're close.
Their defense is going to be a lot better this year. I don't know. The things that I'm hearing about Zaven Collins just sends me over the moon. He was a guy that I loved coming into the draft anyway because he did all of the things and had eye-popping stats when he was at Tulsa, and I get it, he was at Tulsa. But Zaven Collins apparently has already taken over the quarterback role for that defense in camp, and he's been with the team 2 months. So to me, you got that. You got A.J. Greene being added to the offense. You got Rondale Moore as well, who's going to come on this year.
By the way, did you hear DeAndre Hopkins' take on Rondale Moore?
No.
He waxed poetic about A.J. Greene, that he was the best receiver he'd ever played with. Those were words he actually said.
Okay.
And this is a guy that, by the way, played with Andre Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. Think about what I just said.
I hear you.
When he was asked about Rondale Moore, he said, rookie ain't done shit yet.
Wow. Ooh.
Spicy.
Nice. I wondered who the odd man out in that offense was going to be. It kind of sounds like DeAndre Hopkins believes it's going to be Rondale Moore.
No, it'll be Christian Kirk. I won't be shocked if Christian Kirk's not on this team.
Yeah.
I've heard him to New England.
I mean, there could be a
litany of times.
This is a team that's still late in this preseason section. They could make several moves. They've got Isaiah Hicks that they want to ship out of town, or Isaiah Hicks wants out of town because Jordan Hicks. Who the hell's Isaiah Hicks? Oh, yeah, he played for the Carolina Tar Heels one time.
I was about to say.
That was a basketball player. Jordan Hicks, he's lost his job in the middle of that defense with Isaiah Simmons and
the defense is going to be very fast
right.
with Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons and Budda Baker.
Chandler Jones.
Stupidly athletic defense.
Chandler Jones wants out, apparently. He has requested a trade. You don't think they're going to get anything for him?
Oh, no.
Or they'll get enough for him?
Oh, they would 100% get something for him. They're looking at this going, we have J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. Mm-hmm. So, Chandler, you're going to have to just learn to be hunky-dunky. Okay?
I'm going to need you to get along with your friends.
I'm going to need you to just shut the whole hell up. How about that? Does that work for you?
Right.
I don't see a Chandler Jones move. I don't see a Xavier Howard move either, by the way. Mm-hmm. I keep hearing those two for each other, and I'm like, I'd be okay with that.
I would dig that.
As the Cardinals, I'd be okay with that, but I like having Chandler Jones. So, I don't see anything happening. In the comments, they're talking about how many games does J.J. Watt play. Here's the thing. I don't think you're going to see J.J. Watt asked to do a lot. I don't. I think he's going to be almost like a specialty type player in this defense.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's going to be a pass rush specialist or anything like that. I just could see him playing 35 to 40 snaps a game as opposed to 60 to 65.
Yeah.
To keep the body right.
That's
one of the reasons I think Chandler Jones sticks around, because then you don't have to have him on the field as much.
Yeah, plays a lot of second and third downs on most possessions. Okay.
That's what I see out of J.J. Watt.
Mm-hmm. I like the things that they've done to the defense. The offense is good to me. Their offensive line is fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they grew up a little bit last year, DJ Humphries and Beachum. So I like the Arizona Cardinals. I noticed we haven't talked about them yet on your list. That's quite interesting to me, seeing as how we are just now scraping into the top 10. Your number 10 is who?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Team we've already talked about.
Yep.
And Yeah, I'm going to be right about them.
And this is where Jeremy tells me I'm drunk, high, whatever. Number 9 on my list, the LA Rams. The LA Rams have fallen to my number 9 spot.
Why?
I think they are because of the running game. Because they lost Cam Akers, and I don't believe in Darrell Henderson. And I think they did lose some from that defense. They were already on the cusp. We've talked about how many times already in the run-up to this season that the depth isn't great for them. And already it's proven itself. So that knocked them down below several teams that I think are more complete than they are.
Let me ask you a question. Do they still have Matthew Stafford as their quarterback?
Yes, they do.
Do they still have Jalen Ramsey?
Yes.
Do they still have Aaron Donald?
Yes.
Okay, they'll be just fine. Yeah, you're out of your fucking gourd. You told me this, and I honest to God thought you were screwing with me. Mm-hmm. Cam Akers does not make this big of a difference. First of all, there's not a running back in the NFL that makes this much of a difference. It's a running back. Literally, there are 75 guys in the NFL that can be starting running backs, and I think Darrell Henderson's one of them. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to matter. You know why? Because you have guys like Deshaun Jackson and Tutu Atwell and Van Jefferson that can beat you, just kill you deep. Mm-hmm. So no matter who the running back is, you can't stack the box against one of the biggest armed quarterbacks in the NFL that has all of these deep threat weapons. The Cam Akers thing, I think it lessens their chance to win a Super Bowl because you need so many things to go right to do that. But at the end of the day, I get Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and 2 of the 5 best defensive players in the league. I'm good.
Okay. Who's your 9?
The Tennessee Titans. I couldn't have them any higher. This is just kind of where they fell. The Titans were one of those teams I went, them are the Steelers, them are the Cowboys, them are the Browns, and they just kept winning them.
Right.
But then they got to the top 8, and it's like, there is a staunch drop-off there. I'm still stuck on you having the Rams at 9. That just makes no sense to me.
Sorry. I hate it for you.
Over a running back.
Yep. Over a running back. Which is going to take to me, it takes a dimension away from their offense. I want you to be a more complete team if I'm going to have you higher than this on my list. I have the Tennessee Titans as my 8. We're not far off on the Tennessee Titans. There you go. To me, again, it's a better, well-rounded offense. Granted, the defense is not a question. Whose is better between the LA Rams and the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Rams when we get to where they actually should be.
Well, the other thing is that the Rams are also in the toughest division, and I think that division is going to beat up on each other.
I do too. I mean, I've got 3 in the top 10. 3 of my top 10 are in the NFC West. And all 4 of them are in the top 16. So, I actually have 3 in the top 8 now that I think about it.
Yes, you have 3 in the top 8. I have 3 in the top 10. It's just 2 of them are right here together. Arizona at 10 and LA at 9. And San Francisco, you're going to have to wait a couple of spots.
And I'll be honest with you, since we were talking about the Titans, Tennessee came up a few spots when the Wentz injury came out. Because now they're markedly better than every team in the division.
Indeed.
I think they have 6. I'm not going to say 3 wins. They have 4 free wins and 2 that shouldn't be that difficult. If it's Jacob Eason, you're going to be just fine.
Right.
There's not a lot of analysis for the Titans that we hadn't already gone into.
Right.
They're better defensively than they were. I still believe in Tannehill. Now you got Julio Jones that keeps you from doubling up on A.J. Brown.
Yes.
It's a scary damn team. I don't think they have a Super Bowl ceiling, but they're the first team in the NFL to me that doesn't have that. All 8 teams I have in the top 8, I could see going to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I can't see that with the Titans.
Okay. Who's your number 8?
Nope, that's the wrong one. Son of a bitch.
That's from yesterday.
Son of an itch bay. Here, let's play a fun game. You talk, because I'm going to have to rectify that.
Yeah, at my number 8, you don't even have the slide up there.
No. No, I don't.
My number 8 is the Tennessee Titans, and I here's the thing. I've got every team in front of them. agree with Jeremy on I think they can all win a Super Bowl, which is going to surprise him when we get higher on this list because there's a team that we haven't talked about yet that I've already said I don't think they win a Super Bowl, which is I don't think they will. But anyhow, let's do it. Let's do a quick recap here since we are marking our way into the top 8. At number 9, I wish I had your list in front of me here. Can you switch that over for me real quick?
I can.
Thank you, sir. I would appreciate that. My number 9 was the LA Rams. Jeremy's got the Tennessee Titans there. Arizona Cardinals come in at my 10. Pittsburgh Steelers. I still just think there are a lot of question marks with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I know that pisses off Amy and my wife. Both of our better halves are Pittsburgh Steelers fans and don't like it when I talk bad about the Steelers. But, you know, again, it's not that I think they're horrible. I just don't have them in my top 10. 11, I went the Chargers. Jeremy's got the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are my 12. Browns are his 12. We still got 6 spots to go before we get to the Cleveland Browns on my list. Number 13, Miami Dolphins, Minnesota Vikings. 14, Washington Football Team. We are in full agreement on that one, as we are on number 16, the Seattle Seahawks. I've got the Steelers down at 15, just 5 spots behind Jeremy, and he's got the Miami Dolphins 2 spots behind mine at the 15 slot. Now into the top 8. Here we go. At number 8, I have the Tennessee Titans. You have
the Denver Broncos.
No. Denver Broncos.
Yeah, it's not Denver. At 8, I have the Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals.
I think the Cardinals are the last team that could legitimately get to a Super Bowl. I don't think they could win one because I don't think they could beat Buffalo or Kansas City. But I think they could get there. That offense is that good. If they can find a way to get out of the West, I believe their ceiling is that high.
Okay.
The Cardinals are the team that is almost invariably going to fall early in the season. When we do our first power ranking week 2 or week 3, the Cardinals won't be that high. I think at the end of the year they will be, though. I believe in that team. You believe in the Titans a little bit more than me.
Yep.
You obviously believe in the Browns a little bit more than me as well.
I do. I have them as my number 7. I get it. Baker Mayfield. He's not the God's gift to quarterbacks in the NFL, but I think he's good enough to lead this team full of superstars. I love what they did in the offseason with the back end, especially John Johnson and Troy Hill. Grant Delpit's coming back from missing a season with an injury, and it's a guy that Jeremy never was high on in the draft anyway. I loved Grant Delpit at LSU. And I hope that he is everything I hyped him up to be. And I think he's going to help this defense in ways that they couldn't help themselves last year. They struggled a lot against the pass last year, and I don't see that happening again with the stars that they put on this defense.
I do. I think they're the same team, same bad quarterback, tougher schedule. That's there's my the summation on the Cleveland Browns.
Your number 7 in the 2021 preseason power rankings.
Baltimore Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens.
This is now we're to the you can win a Super Bowl. To me, if you told me I could have these 7 teams, you can have the rest of the NFL. Because there's not another team that I think can win one. Baltimore's the last team I think can.
Yeah.
I never thought the day would come where I would become a Lamar Jackson apologist, and yet here we are. 100%. I have become a Lamar Jackson apologist because the hate on him has gotten insane. People that, he can't lead him to a Super Bowl. No, yeah, he can.
Yeah. The whole, hey, they got a quarterback or a running back playing quarterback thing. Take that shit out the window. Stop that, please.
Well,
it was funny for the first couple of years, but then after he led the NFL in touchdown passes 2 years ago and did pretty decent last year with the shit weapons that he had, he still hit Marquise Brown on a lot of big plays last year.
Well,
and I think the thing.
Okay. The running back playing quarterback thing, it's still not inaccurate. He's a running back with a really good arm because he's still a 1,000-yard rusher at quarterback, which is why he can do that.
Right, but saying it's a running back playing quarterback implies that he can't throw the football, and that's just not the case.
It's not that he can't. He's a much better thrower of the football than we ever thought he would be. Here's what I undersold. I undersold exactly how elusive he would be in the NFL. but because you have to scheme against it. It's different. The Baltimore Ravens are like that option team in college football. They can get you any week because it is so damn different than everything you see. I will say I don't like Hollywood Brown's going to miss a few weeks into the season. That came out yesterday. I don't know what to do with that receiving core now because I don't like Sammy Watkins as the one. I don't think Rashad Bateman's ready to be the one. So I could see a very heavy dose of running the football early in the season. And by heavy, I mean heavier than even normal. Until they get the deep threat back. Sammy Watkins can be a deep threat too, but not to the same level.
They start out the season with the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas for the first game at Allegiant Stadium with fans. That's going to be a tough atmosphere, we imagine. Then they get Kansas City in week 2. Then you get Detroit and Denver. Those aren't going to be easy. Detroit will be relatively easy, but the Denver game at Denver in week 4 is not going to be, it's not going to be easy because the defense is pretty good for the Denver Broncos. But I just really don't care. With the weapons that have been added to this team, I think Sammy Watkins he's a really damn good number 2 compared to the weapons that Lamar has had in the past. And I expect much from the rookie. J.K. Dobbins did excellent last year in the limited work that he had. How much is his work going to be limited this year? They're still going to give Gus Edwards the ball, but I love that 1-2 punch. It's not Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but it's a hell of a 1-2 punch to have.
It's up there. I like that. I like the backfield for this team a lot. I like the defense for this team a lot. I do have them just a step behind the other 6 teams in front of them. And not for any specific reason. I just don't see. After what I saw with them in Buffalo last year, I don't think they're ever going to be able to beat Buffalo in Buffalo. If they found a way to get that game in Baltimore, things go better in Baltimore than I think they will. They go worse in Buffalo. Now all bets are off. But I believe Buffalo will be hosting playoff games in the AFC, and I don't know that there's a team that can beat them there.
Yeah. I like the defense. Last time we talked about the Baltimore Ravens, we had completely forgotten about Odafe Owa, their first-round draft pick. I didn't
forget about him. I think he's so raw that he's not going to matter for an extended period of time.
Yeah, but I also feel like he's a guy that can come in and play little spot roles on that defense. Now that they've gotten Justin Houston in, the rotation that they're going to have at the corners is going to be
on the edge. Corners are completely different thing. You
know,
did that to me earlier, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't even remember who you were talking about. Cameron Sutton. It's like Cameron Sutton's a fucking corner, and you kept talking about him on the edge. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, he was going to be playing on the outside.
There you go.
But this is second level. They're going to be the pass rushers. And they're going to be able to throw a lot of different combinations at you with Pernell McPhee and Tyus Bowser and Justin Houston and Odafe Owa. And I don't think they're going to miss as much as people think they will from the differences between Matthew Judon and Yannick Ngakoue.
I don't think they will at all. Ngakoue a little bit. Judon, I've said, was the most overpaid player in all of free agency.
Right. And their secondary's killer.
But I do buy I buy the Ravens. I think they're the best team in their division. I think they'll be a division winner, and they're a legitimate threat.
There is no doubt about it. Flash up that screen again. You can see where I have them. They're my 4.
That's too high for me. You have them. See, to me, I don't see how you have them ahead of. I don't see how you have them ahead of the Rams. I don't see how you have them ahead of the Packers or the 49ers. I just don't get that. I think the NFC is substantially better than the AFC. I think the high end of the AFC is, obviously the AFC has my 2 best teams.
Yeah.
It's that next tier. There's a depth to the NFC that you just don't have in the AFC to me. So, we've already talked about the Rams. I full on don't understand how you have the Ravens in front of them. Doesn't make any damn sense to me.
I like the quarterback better, and that's saying a lot for a Georgia kid.
So it matters for the Rams. It doesn't matter for the Browns. Okay.
Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
Anyhow, number 7 on my list is the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, we talked about the Browns ad nauseum.
Yep. Who's your 7?
The Ravens. We just did that.
Oh,
6.
6.
We're both our 6 and our 5 are both the same.
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers, Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something about the 49ers that I am more convinced of today than I have been at any point, and this is going to be Mac fucking Jones all over again, that I backed off this shit and I wound up being right. Trey Lance starts for this team. You mark my words. You remember I said it. Mm-hmm. Trey Lance ends up starting for this team because I think you have to. Because unfortunately, in the Twitter age, you've got all these beat writers and all these people like us that get press credentials, and we see it and go, holy shit, he is stupid good. Do you realize that through 2 padded practices, Trey Lance has had 2 incompletions? One of them was on a 60-yarder, and the other one was a drop. I understand that doesn't necessarily mean, the world in an 11-on-11 padded practice. Mm-hmm. Go back and watch it. Yeah. I'm just telling you. The kid is ridiculously good.
The health of this team has been it's been the number 1 topic for the last 3 years now. I mean, they had the Jimmy Garoppolo stayed healthy. I guess that was 3 years ago.
Hold on, we got Dick Vitale in the comments who I haven't seen in a while. We're eventually going to figure out what time we should do this. It's so weird how different it's almost like a shift change when we move over past 11 o'clock. And Zach Anderson, first time I've seen him in a live. So welcome to the Chargers fan. You should probably watch what I said about the Chargers in reverse. Watch the summation and then watch the rest of it because I didn't necessarily say it as well as I wanted to. But good to see you guys in the comments.
Absolutely.
Dick Vitale said West Coast. Yeah, see the West Coast. Why do people on the West Coast like us so much?
Don't know.
Because you're talking shit about the Rams. I accidentally not really said shit about the Chargers, that it's going to be construed that way, even though I didn't mean it that way. Mm-hmm. And you talk shit about the Raiders. I do love the West Coast. There will come a time that I live on the West Coast. I think
it's because they can all be honest about their teams.
It's because they have awesome lives, because it's always fucking warm and 78 degrees, and there's pretty girls on the beach. Sorry.
78 degrees. Where?
It's 78 in San Diego, like all the day. Like all day, every day.
I was gonna say, I saw a post from a buddy of mine who lives in the Grand, one of those, like the Central Valley or something. Anyway, flashed up the temperature calendar, and it's been below 100 one time in the last month.
Oh, I love Southern
They had 114, 111, 112 days. Fuck that.
It's fun.
You know
what they don't have?
Wait a minute. You bitch when in the mountains of western North Carolina it gets up to 92.
Yeah, you think I bitch when it gets 92? Wait till you hear me when it gets 6. I become real uncomfortable at 6.
Yeah, but
which we did
got
last
a feeling
year.
At 102, you'd be insufferable. It goes any higher than that, you're not going outside.
Yeah, it's also a different kind of heat. You've never been to the West Coast, have you?
No. Yeah. The farthest west I've ever been is Colorado.
I thought you were about to say Rob Johnson said I'm not blue enough to live on the West Coast. Yeah, you're right. You see what you did there? You're absolutely right about that. But there are places. There might be villages.
Tiny little pockets.
Yeah, they're little pockets. They're itty bitty. By God, I'll live in a box in one of them because they're real expensive to fucking live in.
Just fine.
I've looked. But that is a good point. Jonathan Welch said West Coast sportsocracy. It should be a thing. Agreed.
What, move to the West Coast?
No, we should just have a show on the West Coast.
Oh, show on the West Coast.
I mean, because I always feel bad for the guys on the West Coast. Like, you know, a couple of them wake up like 6 o'clock in the morning to watch us. Which,
well, I mean,
God bless your soul.
You can see it live or on demand. I know it's not as great when it's not live, but you know, sacrifices. It's all about sacrifices. And pretty soon, hopefully, we'll be able to start streaming the afternoon show, and then you'll be right in there because that'll be lunchtime.
Well, that's happening. That's 100% happening. Come hell or high tide. It's not eventually. It's happening soon. People running forklifts through our walls. One of the two things is going to happen. Either we're going to move to a new location, or I'm going to be on TMZ for saying really ugly things.
Dick Vitale says he lives in a spot that doesn't get over 80 or under 50 much. So heaven, essentially, is what you're saying. Okay. I would miss the snow, though.
If I never saw another flake of snow for the rest of my fucking life, I'd be okay.
Oh, it'd be
ever. No, I don't like playing in it. No, piss on that. It's bullshit, and I don't like it.
The San Francisco 49ers, the thing that doesn't have them higher on the list for me is the concern of, injuries seem to plague this team continually. You can't project that kind of thing, but
it's cyclical.
It does make me question it. And then you don't know what's going to happen at quarterback. I would feel better about this team going into the season with Jimmy Garoppolo with the handle on the offense. Let Trey Lance be the backup, but I understand what you're saying about you're not going to be able to. The hype on this kid in camp has gotten so great. You drafted him at number 3 that the fans are probably going to demand that you get it. I hope you get something back for Jimmy Garoppolo and you don't try to, sit on him the entire season. You got to get something out of him. And so there is that possibility. There are just a couple of things that are in flux with me. And I look at their schedule and I don't see how they win. I don't see how they lose a whole lot of games. I think they split with the Rams. I think they're better than the Arizona Cardinals, but they could split with them. I thought Indianapolis was one of their toughest games, but now after the Carson Wentz thing, I don't know. And that's going to be in week 7. So that could be when Carson Wentz is just coming back. God, can you imagine that pass rush against Carson Wentz on his first game back? That could be disastrous for the Indianapolis Colts. They'll have to have Phillip Rivers on speed dial.
Yeah.
Because Phillip Rivers says after the high school season's over, since he's coaching down in Alabama, I think it is, he'll come back and play.
$1, Bob.
Indianapolis may absolutely need him.
I'll give you $1 US to come play for us, Phillip Rivers.
I think they'd be more desperate than that. I'm also looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd be desperate for Phillip Rivers to come step in if something happens to Ben in the middle of the season.
No,
If you don't think he's better than Mason Rudolph, you are drunk.
No,
Stop talking.
Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
Exactly. I don't know. To me, I think they'll be able to hold serve. They got Green Bay on the schedule. Other than that, every other game they're going to have a great chance to win. They're going to be favorites.
Trey Lance, Pat Mahomes 2.0. What up? Let's do this shit.
San Francisco 49ers, they are our number 6 team in the 2021 NFL preseason power rankings. Number 5 on the list for both of us is the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is back. Fuck you, tour number 2. Let's get it. The team still is going to have some deficiencies. The running game is going to be fine with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. The tandem of them, they are still very dynamic. Devontae Adams still remains to be the best thing going in that wide receiver corps. I know you got Randall Cobb back, and that's going to make your quarterback a little happier. Okay. I will defer to Aaron Rodgers on that one. The defensive side of the ball, again, you got good pass rushers. You got the Smiths that can get after the quarterback. You got Jair Alexander, who I believe is one of the best corners in the league. He's probably the 3rd best corner in the league.
He's up there.
He's somewhere in that top 4 of cornerbacks in the NFL. And then outside of that, it's a lot of neutrality for me. So I think this is a team that will win their division easily. They will go into the playoffs and roll off a win, maybe 2 wins, and then it'll all end right there.
Yeah,
That's where they hit the stone wall.
I don't have a lot of analysis on the Packers because we've talked about them ad nauseum. But LaFleur's been the coach here for 2 years. Combined record 26-6. If you haven't been any lower than 5, you're doing it wrong.
Agreed. At number 4, this is where I have the Baltimore Ravens. Again, I think the sky's the limit for the Ravens. They are a team that I could very well see winning a Super Bowl.
Hold on. Rich Strobel said, hate to say it, but Jeremy's probably right about the Dolphins. First of all, it's a new person. Welcome to the show, Rich. I'm not trying to slight the Dolphins. My fear is Tua. And then he said, Gesicki's 4'5" guy with great hands. I agree. I have been referred to for quite some time now as the tight end whisperer, and Mike Gesicki falls right in line with that for me. I like Gesicki a lot. I like him more as a real-life football player than I do fantasy player, and a lot of people did not seem to understand what I was saying about that when we talked about tight ends for fantasy football. Mm-hmm. I like Gesicki a lot. I like Hunter Long, their rookie tight end, a whole lot. You're going to learn to love him in a hurry.
I got him on 4 taxi squads.
Yeah, if you watch the draft process for us, Hunter Long and I, if I was a child, I would have drawn pictures of us holding hands with a sunrise in the background because that's how much I loved Hunter Long.
Yes. Who's your 4?
My number 4 is the LA Rams. Yeah, you got the Rams, and I got the Rams, you got the Ravens.
Yeah.
And I would say those are both teams where we think the other is entirely too low on them. Because I think having the Rams not on the screen makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And you think the Ravens are better than that NFC triumvirate I've got in front of them.
Yes.
We probably should have a Rams-Ravens board bet. I think that's a good call.
Okay.
All right, our top 3, it's the same teams. Mm-hmm. We just flip-flopped 1 and 3 because you don't understand that our hashtag on this show is #NoHomer, and you are one.
That's fine.
Mr. Guy wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey.
Hall of Fame week, John Lynch finally getting his just desserts.
Which I agree.
From the NFL Hall of Fame.
I can't agree that the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL. It is really hard to beat.
I have a ring that says we are the best team in the league.
No, it says you were the best team in the league. It has last year on it.
So how has this team gotten worse?
Because your quarterback's 44 years old.
Stop that.
Okay. Nobody's ever done it in the history of the NFL, but
and nobody had done it at 43 either. Mm-hmm. Nobody had done it at 42.
And be really honest with yourself. You weren't loving it 10 weeks into the year.
No, I wasn't, but the offense kind of changed down the stretch. Mm-hmm. They started implementing more Tom Brady things, and guess what happened? The offense got a lot more efficient going down the stretch of the season.
If you don't think Tom Brady had his fingerprints all over that all year long, I have a bridge to sell you. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe the thing that the drastic difference with Tampa Bay wasn't so much that they started implementing Tom Brady things, because they were doing that all year long. They just weren't doing it well.
Just not to the level. I mean, play action and motion, those percentages increased by I think play action went from 18% in the first 12 weeks of the season to, hell, it was 28% by the time we got into the playoffs.
I think there's a lot to be said that the last 4 weeks, you got to understand, after the Kansas City loss, where you allowed Tyreek Hill to have, 711 yards.
Yes.
You had lost 3 in a row. 3 or 4. Your only win was against Carolina, and you had gotten shellacked against New Orleans. Mm-hmm. That's the low side. I don't think that's what Tampa Bay is. Mm-hmm. I also don't think that playoff run's what they are either. I think you got on a hot streak beating Minnesota, Atlanta twice, and Detroit. Then you came in, survived against the Washington football team. Mm-hmm. Drew Brees was god-awful, and you got lucky as hell against the Packers. And then you beat Pat Mahomes' brains out.
Yep.
I think people are overvaluing that. There are a lot of times, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were not the best team in the NFL last year, and you will never convince me that they were. They won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They were the champions. That does not mean they were the best team in the NFL. If you lathered them up against the Buffalo Bills 10 times, they'd lose 7 of them. I feel the same way against the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel the same way. I don't feel the exact same way with the Packers, but it's close. I would say it'd be 6-4. I thought Green Bay was better than they were last year. They're more consistent. Mm-hmm. But you got hot at the right time. Having a quarterback like that, having a quarterback that is the greatest quarterback that ever lived, will do that.
Yes.
However, I think this narrative that, they hit their stride and that's who they are. There's a regression to every mean. And I will tell you, guys that win Super Bowl rings, there's a reason that they don't tend to come back. A little complacency. Oh, Tom won't allow that to happen. Okay. He'll be pretty much the first one in NFL history that didn't ever have it that didn't have it to some point. Mm-hmm. I don't buy Bruce Arians. I never really have. I don't love it. And that being said, I still have them at fucking 3.
Right. I'm
just giving the reasons that I have Buffalo and Kansas City in front.
Yeah, mine is all about continuity. You kept everybody together from that team. You hit a stride at the end of the season, and I think there is no question that with all the, with the coordinators back, with everybody having more time to get gelled into this offense, and look how good we were at the end of the season. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. I think it's going to be another phenomenal year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it'll be better in the regular season this year than it was last year. The question is, once you get into the playoffs, what's health going to look like? I mean, we got lucky with injuries last year.
100%.
I mean,
you got lucky with schedule.
We didn't have a major problem with injuries last year like some teams did. We were kind of, but then you got
lucky with schedule this year. Mm-hmm. The last 4 weeks of your season are New Orleans at Carolina, at the Jets, Carolina.
Dig it.
Not saying those are terrible teams. They're middle of they're in that meat part of the sandwich. Mm-hmm. 9-24.
Yep.
In that case, it's like 17-24. But still, you got lucky with the schedule. Could it happen again? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think the extra game is going to be a pain in the ass for a 44-year-old quarterback.
Very well.
Straight up. I think it's going to be a pain in the ass, and I don't think your regular season record is going to be as good as you think it will be. Mm-hmm. Which is why, again, I have you as the 1 seed in the NFC. So it's not like I'm super down on you.
Right.
Just
not the best team in the league.
Correct. And this assumption that they're just going to blaze through again. Okay, yeah, I've said the Brady thing for 2 years now. For 2 years now. Here's the secret time. I'll be right.
Eventually.
Well, I was right the last year in New England. You caught lightning in a bottle. Tom Brady was not good for the last month of the season in New England. Mm-hmm. He wasn't. I could make an argument that the reason they lost to the Titans in the playoffs was because of Tom Brady. Could make that argument. Be a little thin, but I could make the argument.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you to suspect that you're going to get the same guy you got in that playoff run, which was basically he was fine against Green Bay. He was good against Kansas City, but Kansas City was getting their brains beat out. Mm-hmm. And New Orleans was flawed. I just think a lot of things are being taken from – Jonathan Welch said in the comments that look at the regular season game against Green Bay. Mm-hmm. That's who they'll be this year. I don't agree with that. But I understand what the premise – I understand the premise of what you're saying is. There are flaws on this team. Mm-hmm. It's not the infallible team you saw for the last 6 weeks of the season.
No.
And I feel like people are not registering that.
But the easy schedule, it does matter.
Well, the schedule's not easy.
Well, I mean, you open up...
The back end of the schedule is easy.
Okay. But I'm looking at the schedule right now, and you've got Dallas...
That's not going to be fun.
No, I'm not saying it's going to. These are the games that I'm going to be nervous on the edge of my seat about. Dallas in week 1. The Rams in week 3.
At the Rams.
At the Rams, right. I mean, to me, that's a loss. And then there's not another really tough game.
At New England. I'm not saying it's...
That's Tom Brady going back to New England in the one place that he hasn't won.
I understand that. It's also Sunday Night Football in New England. And it's Belichick. It's not going to be fun. That's all I'm trying to do.
No, it's not going to be fun.
I'm not telling you I think you lose.
Okay, all right. That's where I thought you were going with that.
No, I'm just saying there are anomalies in the schedule. You have 3 out of 4 games on the road 2 separate times.
Right.
I'm not saying they're daunting games. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that's not something you want to see when you have a 44-year-old quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I understand you want to talk about his pistachio ice cream and the fact he hangs himself upside down in a closet like a bat. I get it. He's still a 44-year-old guy.
Right. But then you got a lot of Miami, Philadelphia, which is not going to be easy, but it's Miami at home, at Philadelphia. You got Chicago at home. You go to New Orleans, and then you got the bye week. Feel pretty good about all that? I do too. And then you got the Washington football team on the road, which is going to be tough. You got the Buffalo Bills way down the schedule here. I mean, those are the only those are the only really tough, edge of your seat games. Do I go into this feeling we could really lose this game? There's the only two in the back half of the schedule. It's a very easy schedule, and that's why I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll probably have the best record in the NFL.
I disagree with you.
It's gonna be close. It'll be close with them.
Close?
Yeah.
I didn't hear the close part before I said I disagree with you. I mean, they'll be. I think I had them at 12-5. I think you're going to see a couple teams that win 14 games. So
they're going to be one of them. You got the your number 3 is Tampa Bay. They are my number 1. My number 3 is your number 1, the Buffalo Bills.
We skipped Kansas City.
Well, we don't. I mean, we'll get to them in a second.
Well, why would we do?
Because we're doing my 3.
Yeah, but they're my 1.
Yeah, but we just did Tampa Bay, and they're my 1.
I know. So then the last one's gonna be 2. I didn't love that we did that. I was trying to steer you away from that, and you wouldn't let me.
So let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs.
There we go.
The number 2 team in the NFL. Kansas City Chiefs. What is there to say about them?
First of all, there's not a whole lot to say about Kansas City. They've been in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Here's the one thing they did. They got killed in the Super Bowl last year because their offensive line was Swiss cheese dog shit. Guess what? That's not
a problem.
Apparently a problem anymore. Well, we say that. We say it's not a problem. But they're planning on Kyle Long to start on that offensive line.
Kyle Long will be gone for I don't remember what.
I thought it was just like 5 weeks. He was going to make the beginning of the season.
What I heard was he would not make the beginning of the season.
Okay.
But even with that, you've got Joe Tooney and Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
Orlando Brown, can we temper the Can we stop with Orlando Brown that he's a top 5 left tackle in the NFL? There's a reason Baltimore didn't want to pay him. It's because they know what he is. He's a right tackle. But I think he can be a serviceable to good left tackle. But it's just the mixture of things in the offense. And I still don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I still don't think they're going to run the ball particularly well, but I think the defense is better.
Do you think they're going to change up their offensive scheme, or they have to change up their offensive scheme when it comes to the running game, rather than doing a lot of the zone runs and stuff like that? I've heard that they might try to, adjust that because it's not what Clyde Edwards-Helaire is good at.
That's part of what I said on draft night when they drafted him is you just drafted a running back, can't do what you're going to ask him to.
Right.
I don't think it matters. He's a 5'7", 210-pound little bowling ball. I'm not going to like it no matter how. I don't care how you run him. He's a good receiving back. They need a thumper between the tackles. I think it's going to take 1 year for them to one more year for them to figure that out. Edwards-Helaire has a role in the NFL. He's not a lead back. He's not. I said that on draft night, and guess what? I started to be right last year. He had 2 big games, and the rest of the year he was average at best, and that's being nice.
Yeah.
I think that's a deficiency. Andy Reid's a sharp damn dude. I think he's going to figure that out in pretty short order. And somebody else will get the between the tackles work. Not all of it, but they'll cut into the workload.
Yeah. The defense is not elite to me.
No, I like the addition of Nick Bolton, though. They did several things that I really liked. So.
Right. I just don't see the offensive line problems. I think you have solved them for the most part. And then the defense really hasn't changed much for me. And you're going to be 1-2, top of the league in the Super Bowl probably again. And if not, you lost on a last-second play to the Buffalo Bills. Kansas City is going to be damn good. They're going to scare everybody that they go up against. They may not be the team that has every piece solved, but their talent is just unfucking believable. And with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and, even throw Mecole Hardman in there, they're going to be damn tough to stop if you don't have a really, hammered secondary.
And now
let's talk about the number 1 team for you.
You said it wrong. The 2022 Super Bowl champion Buffalo Bills.
Isn't it the 2021 Super Bowl champion?
No, because Super Bowl's in
Buffalo?
2022.
Yeah, but it's for the 21 season.
Yeah, but it's in 2022.
That's why they give them numbers instead of giving them years.
Yeah, but it's in 2022.
I get that.
Just like the NBA season starts this year, and it'll be the 2022 NBA champion, Denver Nuggets.
The Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about them. You got Josh Allen, who made the third-year leap last year. You got Stephon Diggs, who is, he's everything that Josh Allen wanted him to be. Can they continue the connection that they have? Can they figure out how to run the ball? Is a big question. Can they get after the quarterback with their young guys that they drafted?
Oh, the pass rush is going to be fantastic. I mean, you got just a slew of guys that can get after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Brought back all the guys that you. I'm going to level with you. The Buffalo Bills are about as close to a flawless team as you will ever see. This team is. What's the flaw?
Okay.
What's the flaw?
The running game.
You mean with that big ass fucking quarterback that can just, you get in close and he goes, "Hey, stop me! I dare you." Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want you to think about how good Josh Allen was without the ability to run the ball. And I firmly believe in Zach Moss. Zach Moss will be on every fantasy team I have this year. As my fifth running back, and 6 weeks into the season, I'm just going to go, told you, bitches.
Yeah.
He was starting to come on last year before he got hurt.
Yeah. Is it out of the realm of possibility? No. Is it very likely to happen? I don't think so.
The Zach Moss thing or Buffalo?
I think Zach Moss will be okay, but no better than, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm really curious to see how you finish this.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to finish that line. It's just, I've got questions about their running game. I don't know how good it can be. There's a reason I didn't say anybody other than Stephon Diggs when I looked at the wide receiver core and the pass catchers, because other than him, they're just guys to me.
I liked Gabriel Davis. Mm-hmm. Or I like Gabriel Davis. Emmanuel Sanders will be fine. A lot of people have crucified me for not liking him because I like John Brown better. Mm-hmm. Emmanuel Sanders is older and injury prone. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I'm fine with it. Tight end, they didn't really have a tight end last year. So, we lost Tyler Kroft. Well, shit. Well, shit on me. How are you going to get away from Tyler Kroft?
Right.
By the way, I do need you to realize that of the times, it's one of my favorite Zach Moss stats.
Okay.
Of the games where Zach Moss had double-digit rushing attempts, he averaged over 4 3/4 yards a carry 3 of the 4 times. Just saying. Just saying.
Okay.
Then he got hurt. Mm-hmm. Then he got hurt. He'd had 2 games in a row that were pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. He's always going to get vultured touchdown-wise by Josh Allen because that's what Josh Allen does. But just saying. Just saying. That's one of those I'm going to look back on when he has 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns and go, bet you wish you'd listen to me, don't you?
The defense is elite. The offense, to me, there are, Josh Allen is so good that it makes up for the deficiencies in the weapons that he has.
I don't think there's deficiencies in the weapons. I think you have a top 3 receiver in the NFL, and then you just don't have that
solid 2.
No, I think you have 2 solid 2s. I like Gabriel Davis and I like Emmanuel Sanders, and I think you have one of the best slot guys in the league.
Wait, weren't you the one last year saying that there wasn't much left for Emmanuel Sanders when he ended up in New Orleans?
Yeah, but you've got Gabriel Davis that when he gets hurt in week 4, which I firmly believe is going to happen.
Right.
Hey, now you can do what you should have done in the first place. Because I like him a mess. Like if this is a little and this is a lot, I like him a whole fucking mess.
Right. Lots of tables going to be broken for the Buffalo Bills this year. There is no doubt. I just don't think they're going to be holding the trophy at the end.
I do.
I think it's going to be for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No, Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
I just want it more than anything in the world just to prove you wrong. And let's see if it can happen for me again.
When Tom doesn't get his Metamucil and all of a sudden you have to turn to Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that shit makes the fucking sun rise. Just the thought of that.
Oh, wah. I think you're going to be sorely disappointed this year. But, I mean, we're really splitting hairs when we come to the top teams in the NFL. It's going to be a hell of a season, and I can't wait for it to kick off tonight with the Hall of Fame game.
Oh, I mean, I'm just excited for football. Mm-hmm. I know that after we do the ESPN Radio Show 3 to 5 this afternoon, can be found everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have some fun on that show this afternoon. I don't have a damn clue what we're going to talk about.
Oh, my God, Dick.
What?
Dick Vitale. When Brady throws for 140 yards in every game. Fuck off.
I'm learning to like Dick Vitale more and more. He lives in a beautiful place, and I love damn near every word that comes out of his mouth.
That's probably the dumbest thing you'll hear all day.
I do declare, I do believe this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Uh-huh. Oh, geez. Stop it. You're all drunk. Anyhow.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't see what that has to do with anything.
We'll be with you this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We will be back with you here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. in the Sportsocracy and always live in the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. Have a great day.